souls, young souls, and all my damn souls in between. Welcome back to another week of Old Soul in the Young World with your host, Jesse Ellie. Hey, what up, everybody? It's poppin'. We got so many guests in the studio today. We are going to have an amazing management company from Boston, people who started from the ground up, have some amazing musicians, artists under their record label right now. Shout out and welcome to the show, DTW, dedicated to winning entertainment. What's poppin', Joey? What's poppin', Jay?
What's poppin'?
What's good?
What's good, guys? Can I have your cups real quick? Pass those over. Would you guys want to give people a quick introduction? I know I said, we got Joey and Jay, but who's Joey and Jay? What do you guys do? What's DTW? What's poppin'?
We can let Jay go first.
He goes, put Jay on the spot. Jay, go ahead. Go ahead, kick it off.
All right, what do we do? We're out here trying to find some of the newest talent. We have I would say we have the three best premier talents in music. I'm not going to limit it us, right? Because people always say Boston. We're bigger than that. Right? We have superstars, right? They're already out there, but we just haven't discovered them yet, right?
Facts.
It's like planets.
Yes.
So many of them, right? Our stars are out there. We just need for the rest of everyone to catch up.
Exactly.
And when you meet them, you'll understand why, and what we do. We're doing it at a different perspective. We want to be an all-inclusive, right? We want to keep everything in-house, right? I know it's dope to be a part of, major labels, but we want to start our own, rolling loud tour, but we want to do it like a DTW way.
Not outsourcing for any of, producer or management or anyone to book shows or anything like that. It's all coming from inside DTW.
All with inside.
Hey.
Right? We want it all.
Boston fucking needs that. Sorry to cut you off, but Boston really needs that shit.
Yeah. I think the world needs it.
Hey.
I think it's
cheers to that.
We want to bring it we're in a position now where we have someone very special, a part of our team that works with a lot of venues across the country. Right, and we want to be house residents of these venues.
Hey.
Right, we want to be able to put on the show like you came to, but we want to put you on a show with us where there's 50, 60,000 in the crowd.
Oh yes, that's what we're looking forward to.
That's what we're about, and we're about taking care of it. We're about making this a family.
Facts.
Right, we know the business is the business, but our business is to make sure that all of our artists become independent. All of them become bosses within DTW. Right, I want them to start their things, but I still want it to be a part of DTW. Right, I want this to be going because who's not dedicated to winning?
Hey,
right?
I know I am.
Yeah.
And Joey, I know you kind of are the CEO, founder.
Me and Jay.
Okay, so you guys
together.
are the two seed creators of the idea.
Yeah.
Word. And could you just give people a little introduction of who you are? I mean, back in the day, you were on my podcast already, so it's pretty dope having you on again.
Obviously, I started in music first, and then as I get older, I'm just one of those that I love music so much that I want to be in it. I just don't want to walk away from it. So I've been around working with a lot of younger artists. So me and Johnny always link up and stuff, and I was just like, we got to do something together. So we basically came together and created DTW.
That's
and
fire.
Signed a couple artists, things like that, and everything's coming together. And then we got Ashley, who's our booking management. So we have, we were saying, everything's in-house.
Yep.
So it's pretty dope.
That's fire. And for everybody listening and tuning in, we are going to have Ashley coming on the second half of the show, so make sure you stay tuned for that. We're going to get all the partners and members of DTW on here today so you guys can get familiar with what they're about. And so you guys, when did you actually start DTW? Was this within the last few years, or has it been in the making for more than that?
Well, it's been in the making.
Right.
So it was a thing before with music. My background with music, I had a partner before, Spanish guy, another one, my man.
Hey.
Shout outs to my man G.
Shout him out. Shout
we
out
had
G.
We had a label called Street Dreams Entertainment. Some unfortunate events took place, but we were rolling.
Right.
We were on our way. We both had the same soul, and some things happened. And if me and G wasn't together, it couldn't work. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's still my guy. Love. There was never nothing between us, but life just happens and certain things happen.
Facts.
And Joey's always, hey, Jay, come on, man. We got to do this music again. I'm like, I'm always going to support you, but I don't want to, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then he started playing JR, and I was like, yo, who's this young cat? And JR, I love this style because he wasn't what was the norm. The norm right now is kind of somewhat the gang bang, shoot 'em up, that drill music.
Facts.
I was like, yo, this is rap soul. Like, this kid's soulful.
Some
he's
flowetry.
rapping,
Yeah.
he's flowing, he's singing. I'm like, yo, he's his new genre, rap soul. Like, if anything I want to get behind, I loved his look, I loved his story. I was like, yo, let's get behind it. Joe and I were talking, and I was like, I was doing something called Dedicated to Winning Forest Basketball.
Okay, so that DTW started with basketball.
Basketball. It was kind of my thing with the
I didn't know that.
with the ball. So that's
So I've seen you do some coaching too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I coach as well in the inner city.
That's dope.
Won 2 state titles, but it was like, you know what, man? Joe was like, let's do it. I was like, let's do it. Let's come up with a name. I was like, we got the name.
Facts.
He was like, what? I was like, DTW. Light went on,
Yeah.
and the light's never going off.
Hey, I love that. And Joey, could you give us a little rundown of who you guys actually have under your label right now? What names you got and kind of what they're into?
Yeah, so we got BMLJR,
Hey.
rapper, singer, writer. He can like do it all. Then we have Party Boy Woods, could do every type of genre of music. And then we got Kazi, who's a producer / artist, and he can do like Caribbean music, R&B, rap, different vibes.
So you guys have an eclectic group. It's not like just like you're saying, like trap rappers or like what people are trying to hear or what's on the radio right now or shit like that.
We have artists.
Yeah. And you know, the thing is, and I'm sure you guys are both aware, both being in the music industry in Boston for a while now, it's kind of hard to come up out here.
Yeah.
And I feel like we don't have as many record labels out here because of that. You know what I mean? People are afraid to dedicate themselves, to building something out here because they feel like they're not going to get something back. So what motivated you guys to want to create something in Boston and start something for like local people and put younger artists on, opposed to just like joining a label or like going after something that's already made?
I think the playing field is different now, right? Like you don't even need to go to like get signed to a record label. You got social media, you have all these different platforms that you could reach out yourselves and people could get to know you and you could blow up off of that.
Facts.
Like you can, as an artist, you can upload your own stuff to Spotify, Apple, right? You don't even need somebody where the labels will cut money into that, right? It's coming out of your budget because we got to put it onto these platforms. So I think it's just us coming together and creating something that I wouldn't say hasn't been done. I'm pretty sure there's been people that, you know, tried it, but most people in Boston, they just like to move out of Boston. And I feel like there's a lot of companies out here and different avenues and lanes you can tap into if you're trying to make money with your music. Because I know a bunch of people that make money out here and they live out here and they shooting commercials for Cheerios, all these different things.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's different ways you can approach music now, whereas it's not just like, oh, let me go make this album, get signed to a label, and then I'm gonna blow up.
Facts.
But I feel like it's different now. Yeah, that's how I see it. If you want to add on to that.
I just think, we kind of sleep on our dreams, right? Because sometimes no one really trusts the process. That's one thing I always say. It's like you have to trust the process. Like if you want to be an artist, this doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like everyone wants this. It's a society. It's like kind of microwave. Like we want to pop it in for 3 minutes. Boom, it's hot. It's ready to
Instantaneous. We want everything now.
And it never tastes well.
Right.
Right. It never tastes well.
Exactly.
So like I'm taking the approach of like old soul, old school kind of. Yo, listen. Let's put our hands in it. Right? Let's put some love into it. Let's put it in the oven. And you have to take the time. You got to watch it.
Yeah.
Right? You got to watch the bread rise. Right? Like you don't eat it while it's why it's on the low, you got to watch it rise. And it's like
100%.
you have to trust us, and you have to understand like it's a process. You're with us, yes, but you have to give us time. Like
Yeah.
right, like you can't expect, oh, I'm signed. Nah, I want the watch, I want the chain, I want $1 million music video budget. It's kind of like, where are we at? Like, where's the patience? And I think that's where Boston falls at. Like we got a lot of great artists, but that patience, like, oh, we'll never blow because we're from Boston. It's like,
It's
if
a
every-
mindset,
it's a
mentality
mindset.
wise, yeah. And manifestation wise, like if we keep speaking negatively about our own city and we're like, oh, we can't build nothing, we can't build nothing, then how are we ever gonna grow it? You know, like you gotta plant that seed and take care of it, water with the love and the motivation, the dedication, all of that, and wait for it. You know, it's exactly what you're saying. Like you can't expect results overnight. Yeah, some people can go viral on social media now and blow up overnight, but that's not realistic. That's not what that's not where real culture music comes from. You know what I mean? And I don't know how you guys feel, but like when I look at the two of you, and you know, Ashley and the whole DTW team, like I feel like you guys are taking culture and you're passing it down to younger generations, and you're taking something from like hip hop, old school R&B, flowetry, all that shit, and you're bringing it back to today when we don't have that no more. You know what I mean? We don't have young cats coming out and making stuff like that because that's not what they grow up hearing. So I think it's really respectful that you guys are like passing the knowledge, you know, that's important.
We want it to be timeless, right? Like we want to make timeless music. Like,
Yes.
like I used to always think about it. It's like, how does my daughter know Michael Jackson? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like everybody,
Right.
like everyone know who MJ was, right? We were just having a debate about Prince, but everyone knows, like, right? Like everyone knows who Queen is.
Yeah.
Right?
And what was our debate about Prince?
Oh, was
Can you
oh,
just
man.
quickly? We're not gonna get
Blouses.
Blouses.
to one word.
and
Blouses.
he was one of the flyest brothers around, and he wore a blouse.
Facts.
And my argument was that showed how confident he was. Like right, like
when
that-
other people could be like, "Oh, that's mad corny" or like whatever.
yeah. So we're just at the state where we really want to bring it back, and I think Boston. We forget about Boston. We forget about Donna Summers that went to the Burke. Right, we
Facts.
forget about we had New Kids on the Block.
Facts.
We had one of the greatest R&B groups ever, New Edition.
Yeah.
Like then Bobby did a solo. BB, like we forget about all of that. Like
Yeah.
we forget like at one time Boston was popping for music.
Right.
Right, like
We let it be like, oh, we're good for education, or we're good for finances, or we're good for like, nah. There is so much more hip hop
much.
culture and underground stuff that people don't know that's still here. Like all the artists that perform at the Middle East, all the artists that you had at your show, Joey. Like, and actually, can you shout out your show? I'm sorry, I feel like we also didn't mention that.
Yeah, shout out to the team DTW.
Hey.
We all put that together. It was just a showcase showing our artists and other artists in the city.
In
And it was
December,
at Sinclair.
right?
That was in December. We had it at Sinclair. So shout out to Ashley and the whole team over there. It's pretty dope. So
Yeah.
hopefully we get to have more shows and
More to come.
yeah, more to come pretty much.
Yeah. And you know, for both of you, I guess this goes to whoever, but like what were you guys' biggest motivations? Like what actually inspired you to be the ones to keep going? Like I know I have my own influences and I've mentioned them on a few of my podcasts. Like I would always listen to like Jill Scott, Lauryn Hill, Erykah Badu. Like those were my 3 female spoken word influences for me that made me want to be a writer and a speaker and like a confident woman. And even if it's not a male or a musician or whatever, it could be a basketball player. But what were you guys' biggest like inspirations kind of growing up that made you want to continue, even if everything like was against you or the odds were down?
Mine's was Malcolm.
Hey.
Malcolm X, Alex Baldwin. Like I'm a Dr. Claude Anderson. Like
Yeah.
I'm a history buff, but then with the music, it was kind of like I looked at that whole Motown, that whole era of music, and what they were saying. Like Quincy Jones, as bad as he was, like looking at Four Tops, the Temptations, right? Marvin Williams and the Blue Notes, seeing Teddy Pendergrass being the drummer
Yo, he's talking that old school shit. Y'all hear him?
Like being a drummer, then taking the lead. Like people forget he was the background dude. Right. Then watching Jay go from to where Jay-Z went to, where Val, and seeing Dame, and my motivation is Dame.
Yeah.
Like Dame Dash, like Dame's a lot like me. I don't have the skill to be the artist, but I got that vision to push you and get it through. I got that vision to see a vision and follow it through. Like I trust the process, right? And I understand, like, if you're with me, I'm fighting for you. Right? Like I'm the one you want on your team. You don't want to go against me. Because if you go against our team, like, it's all out, it's war. Like, right? Like, I'm Dame kicking that door down at Rockefeller Def Jam. Like, why are you having a meeting and we downstairs and y'all meeting about JR upstairs? It's an issue. Right. You know, so those things like that, people like that, you know, they paved the way to what we think of now. Boogie Down Production, like seeing the Stop the Violent movement. I think we need another one of those. We need another self-destruction. Right?
Just to build ourselves back
Just to build ourselves back, but we need another song like that championed it. And that curve gang violence in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s with one song. Like we see it, it's happening throughout the country right now. Like that's what I was thinking. I was like, yo, someone should be doing that. Where's the We Are the Worlds?
So it's almost like being motivated. Like even though you have inspirations and people you're motivated by not seeing anybody do the shit that you want to see. Seeing that there isn't a vision out there of what you have and that nobody's accomplishing like what you guys want to do with the artists around here. It's like, I think sometimes we look around and, you know, around here, I think people are very competitive too. So it kind of is like, oh, can we build together? Can we not? Like seeing a group of like today in the studio, guys, we have the whole DTW team here, even though you're not seeing them all on the show at once. Like seeing all you guys show up together, it's like 8 of you coming together as a team, building something and growing and not like being hateful or trying to compete against each other or trying to one up each other. Like that's also huge in the industry in starting from the ground up. You know, like how do you build with other people and trust them and grow with them in today's day and age when everyone's competitive or against each other, you know? So it's crazy. How do you feel about that, Joey?
I'm huge on that because me growing up and doing music, like no one was there to help me. I had to do it all by myself, right?
Yes.
Until I met Ashley, so we started doing stuff together. And then, you know, Johnny and Jay and all that. So, but before that, I was doing everything by myself, and like people would close doors and all that because it was like you had to know the person. Right. So you can't just go up to like a venue and be like, hey, I want to perform here. They're not gonna let you. Right. You got to know people. So like basically, I took like a year off of music and just networked throughout the city, and I just got to meet everybody. And then like the year after, that's when I started getting like all these shows and different things like that. And for me, a lot of older rappers and things like that and people in the city, they don't work with younger kids. Facts. Like, you know, younger artists and all that. So I was one of the only one at the time. I'm pretty sure there's other people now, but I was putting people on, you know, and I still do. And now we got DTW, so now I'm you know, focused on that. But I felt like some people just don't want to share their wisdom because they feel like that next person is going to pass them if they pass it along. Facts. I'm opposite because I'm just like, I can tell you something, but you still got to outwork me, right? Because there's still that. Because I love what I do. So I can give you all the information. It depends on what you're going to do with it, you know? But some people don't want to do that. Right. Because they're like, I worked my behind off of this, so like, I'm not just going to give away the secret. And people still are like that, you know? Right. I'm the opposite. Like, I'll give you everything.
Exactly. As long as you give me something back too.
You know, I don't even look for that. Like, you know,
he says he doesn't even look for that. He don't need nothing back. I don't. That's real shit right there.
I don't do that at all.
Yeah.
I feel like yeah, exactly, all that. So, and that's why like I have a good name in the city because like I stay true to who I am. So I don't need no favors. Like I just love learning new things, love trying things. That's why I wear many hats. just because no one was there to help me.
Yeah.
And now I'm able to help, other artists on our team and things like that.
Yeah. And like, honestly, I just personally have to give Joey my own shout out. Shout out Joseph Joey James. Follow him on everything. If it wasn't for you, like, you gave me my first opportunity hosting that show. So I was the one hosting the Maverick and Friends show that we put on with DTW Entertainment. It was their first, big record label show in Boston at the Sinclair. And it was just a super special opportunity that you gave me a chance as an artist, as a podcaster, as a female with a voice, to be out there and to be able to talk my shit. And that made me feel so good and gave me confidence. So if you gave me that confidence just with like one night of hosting, I can only imagine like what you're doing for these younger artists who are trying to come up, and what you're giving them and the knowledge. Like that is key. So
Oh, you see my phone. I got other artists like, hey, when's your next show?
Yes.
Like, hey, you gotta wait.
Yes.
That's fire.
And going forward, guys, I know maybe like Jay, if you want to kind of take this one, but with the company or DTW or in general, like, it just seems like even though it's music based, it's not just music. Do you feel like going forward, this will kind of expand past like just the industry of music?
Oh, we're definitely we're beyond that.
Where are you going?
We're going. Listen, where we're going, there's no roads, right? Didn't they say that in Back to the Future?
Yo, you got
Where
some
we're going-
fucking key lines,
yo, Marty, where we're going, there ain't no roads, like, right? So there's no roads, there's no stopping. Like, we're
yes.
definitely gonna invest in the kids because we both come from working with children, so we always want to give back to our community. But it's gonna go into everything, man. We want to help artists, visual artists, right? We want to help, lyricists, whether you're a poet, whether you're, film writers, like, right? We want to start DTW Entertainment's gonna be real. Like, we wanna start hosting movies, and we want to start putting together some platforms, right?
Facts.
Because we're into sharing, right? Like Joey says, everyone that's on, it's like it's a secret, like, right? And sadly, that's what we do in hip hop, right? It's kind of I did it, I'm gonna keep it here. I'm not gonna tell you the gems and the jewels. And when everyone tells you, oh, this is a gem, this is a jewel, it's like, oh my God, you should be thankful. It should be like, yo, listen, here, go get it.
Yeah.
They're giving away free water down the street.
Right.
Am I like, how many glasses can I drink? So I shouldn't tell no one else. So we're kind of like, yo, listen, we want to give it out. Like, we want DTW, we want a podcast. Like I said, we want to put together South by Southwest, right? Like, we want to put together events where artists can come, right? Because let's keep it real. It's not just Boston, right? There's towns in Milwaukee that's not on, right?
Right.
Like, we think about, we only think about, like, New York, Detroit, Philly, LA, Atlanta, right? Like, everyone else is doing hip hop.
There's artists everywhere.
Artists
though.
is everywhere.
Right.
And now with that computer, and you can just type in something, you can find that anywhere.
Instant.
Right? So we want to be able to, like, listen, let's pull it together.
Yeah.
Right? Our next show, like, we want people from other places.
Yeah,
right. We
facts.
want to break music, like,
Because that's how you make the networking, the connections. Like, you can't stay within Boston and think you're going to expand. You know
No,
what I'm
you
saying?
can't.
You have to bring artists from Milwaukee and Tennessee, Virginia, Florida, Colorado, random fucking places. You know what I'm saying? Bring them
Montana.
up here. Yeah.
Who raps in Montana?
Right.
Come to our
but
show.
There's probably some
DTW.
dope-ass rappers.
DTW want all Montana rappers to come to our next spot. South Dakota, North Dakota, right? Like, let's keep it real. It's everywhere. Hip hop it was only supposed to last 5 or 6 years, right?
Right.
It was only supposed to last. Rap wouldn't last.
Right, a phase.
It's a phase, right?
But now it's a culture.
Now it's a culture.
Now it's a history.
Number one genre.
Number one genre type shit. Facts.
We would have never thought we would hear Celtics at a Celtics game in the 80s. You gonna hear rap music.
Yeah, it's true.
Right? Like, never. Yeah. Especially if we know Boston and we know our city, so we don't got to talk about that. But playing in the Garden, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's for real.
So it's deeper than what it is, right? Like, you go to Legals right now and can hear some rap music, and that's crazy.
Right.
Right? So it's like going back to the culture and letting kids know that it's more than that. Like, right? And some of the rap that's going on is not culture music. right?
100%.
It's not. So.
And it's crazy because I feel like you are so conscious. I feel like both of you are so the whole team.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, Jay. You have this vibe, like a very deep soul, so young world. And guys, we are going to be bringing on the next member of the team in a couple minutes. But before we do that, I'm kind of just wondering, Jay, like, what does it mean to you to be an old soul in the young world, and how would you relate that to like what DTW is doing? However you take that question.
Yeah.
And then let the people know where the fuck they can find you.
Listen, I am an old soul, right? Because I was in that generation where I was taught to listen, be seen and not heard. And when you come from that old soul generation, you're learning, right? Like I didn't do the talking. This generation, they talk, right? They ask a question before you even finish your statement. My answer's within the statement. Just shut your mouth and listen. You don't even need to raise your hand, right? So with DTW, we want to bring it back. Like we want to bring it back to that origins of like, it takes time, right? And if you do it, you have to be passionate about it. Like, right? Like these artists was passionate, right? Like if you listen to that music, that old soul music, like it moves you. It motivated you, right? Like it wasn't a thing, and that's just the way I am. Like I'm motivated to see us explode because it's not just gonna be us two and the four gentlemen that's in there. Like we want to affect the world,
right?
Like right, like you said, like we want to be able to pull you in and we're gonna laugh about it one day. Mark my words. When we're standing in front of 50,000, and you're like, "Yo, Jay, you said that, bull, you motherfucker."
You remember when we were on that little podcast in that studio back in the day?
But that's what it is, though. Like you have to think about it. Like, right, you gotta prove it, and we're moving differently, right? Like the dope thing about hip hop is it's amazing, right? But you get stuck.
Yeah.
Right? Like you get stuck in this trap genre, you get stuck in this gangster persona, like, and then you realize when you really want to evolve and change, you can't because you pigeonholed yourself.
Facts.
Right? So we're water.
Right.
Like Bruce said, we're water. Water's the most powerful thing on earth because it can get through any crack.
Yep.
Then it can be as solid as a rock that you can't break through it. Right?
Yep.
We're not gonna be caught in this little bubble like, oh, gangs. No, there's no gangsters over here.
Right.
We're not promoting that. Like, right, to me, that's corny. I'm promoting everyone, young fellas go to school, get an education, right? Young sisters read, get an education, be self-sufficient, be a visionary. I'm trying to get everyone to be independent. Don't work for anybody. Because that's how we become slaves. That's what slavery is.
Yo,
right?
facts.
You're a slave to the job. Now there's these mandates in certain jobs where there's positions where they're holding you hostage. You can't work unless you have this.
Yeah.
I want all my artists to be independent.
Yeah.
I want us to create it. I just told JR that. We're creating a new genre for your music because you're not a rapper. You're not a singer. You're just soul. Like, boy, your flow.
Right.
He's just flow.
Yeah.
There's going to be a category, the best flow artist of the year, right? Like, because you just flow.
Yep. So you got to create that own lane that you can put them in. Yeah.
And that's what we're missing.
Right. Right. And you guys are making that to give those artists that path where it's like finally they could get their recognition for exactly who they are instead of having to put themselves into a label or a box,
box.
Yeah. So
let's be circles.
For real.
Not squares.
Oh my God. You have so many gems. I feel like I'm gonna have to bring you on yourself one day.
Hey, listen, let's do it. Let's do it.
But guys, right now we are actually going to bring the next member of DTW on, Ashley. So we're gonna be chopping it up. We're gonna get even more into what DTW is doing and what Ashley's part of this is. And before we do that, do you mind just plugging yourself so people could hit you up, tag you, find you on anything?
DTW Management. Instagram.
Hey, personal? You want to put your personal?
It's not about me.
Nah, it's all about the team, yo. I appreciate that. All right, guys, we will be back after this with our next guest, Ashley. Stay tuned. What up, everyone? We are back with the next member of DTW, Mr. Ashley Lord. What's poppin', Ashley? How are you? What's going on? And when did you get started or involved in the DTW dedicated to winning management team?
Say I got started first with Jose. We did a few things together. Started helping him out with shows, getting booked.
Word.
And then that transferred into when him and Johnny came up with this idea of DTW. It was like right in line with what we already had going.
Wow.
So it just worked out perfect that it's something that we all have passion for, and we finally get to have the team to be able to help out,
That's dope.
the artists that are coming up.
Yes. And that's crazy. I feel like things, when they're meant to work out, they happen like that. It's like you're already building an idea with somebody, and then the other person's already building a separate idea, and then it's like when the timing lines up just exactly, they're meant to come together. You know what I mean? And it kind of seems like that's what happened with y'all. And was that within the very start of the company, Ashley, that you joined? So within the last year or so?
Yeah.
Okay.
We all basically started around the same time. It was just, I guess, him and Johnny, working together a little bit more on the, with schooling and stuff like that kind of helped.
Yeah.
Then build a relationship, and then I just, I was already there, so I just chimed in and I was part of it.
Yeah. Teamwork makes the fucking dream work. You feel me? And so are you guys both from Boston? Are you Boston natives? Down and out from here, building from here?
This guy's from Boston.
I was born in New York, Brooklyn, East New York. All right. And then my family moved me out here, but I go back and forth.
So you were pulled over, but you're not an original.
Wasn't my fault.
Would you say you're a native Brooklyn or a native Boston?
I like to say I'm both.
Oh, shit. He's a mix.
I am a mix.
You don't catch
he's
many of
lucky
those.
like
I call
that.
myself a mixed breed.
He's lucky like that.
How about you, Ashley? Are you from?
Born and raised in Brooklyn. All
Okay.
day. Yeah.
Did you guys know each other in Brooklyn?
We just met over time and basically just linked up, and then we found out we have a lot of things in common on so many levels. And that's how one day I was just like, yo, you should help me manage this music stuff, help me book shows.
Yeah.
And that's what we've been doing for a while. And then it worked out perfect, like he said.
Yeah.
Because then I was like, yo, Jay, Ashley could be our booking management because he already has, access to some of these venues and shows and all these different people. And I was just like, I told Ashley too, I was like, look, I'm about to retire anyway soon. So I was like, instead of throwing me shows, now we got artists that, hey, we can throw it to one of our artists,
Exactly. That's fire. So it's just perfect timing when it all came together.
Yep.
Yeah. And Ashley, you're going to hate me because I'm going to put you on the spot. But so I had met you at the show. We had talked a little bit behind stage. And I remember I was like, oh, yeah, I'm podcaster, painter. I was showing you a couple litings. And you were like, oh, yeah, I cook. And I was like, oh, shit, what? I didn't expect that. And then you actually have a little bit of your IG page that you created. So what's that vibe? I know you're into the music and shit, but I think it's dope that being a part of the management team, you guys all have your own niches and you guys are all creatives in different ways. And it's cooking in itself is a creative, motivational aspect. Do you know what I mean? So how did you kind of get involved in that little business?
Well, start by saying, music, something everybody loves.
Yeah,
Everybody has some kind of genre of music that they love. Everybody loves food. You gotta eat. So basically just comes down to my passion for music was just as deep as my passion for food. And I always was even back when I was in college, I used to be the cook for all the barbecues or all the events we would have on campus.
Yeah.
Always the guy who would cook for everybody. Even my friends back at home. Always a person in the kitchen making food for everybody.
Yeah.
And then that just translated into now the guy who's always cooking at the barbecue for family. Everybody's like, yo, you should start your own IG thing. You should cook for people.
Yeah.
So that made me get into a position where people started booking me for barbecues.
Hey.
Just out of nowhere, and then now I have, IG page, people following me. I do my little side gigs with, cooking and stuff.
That's dope.
Trying to get my LLC to start my own business on that side, but,
That's fire.
that all can come together. DTW could have its own, cooking side, like where we cater events.
Yep.
Or we, do something for, all the artists
Right.
at a show. They don't have to worry about outside,
Right.
Anything. It was all internal.
That's what I was literally thinking. I'm so happy you said that because that was actually my vision. I was like, wow, if you mix together like the fashion aspect of it, the music aspect of it, the cooking aspect, the booking aspect, like you guys literally, like you said, there's no need to outsource. You know what I mean? You could throw your own event and have everything covered under just your team, which out here is like unheard of. That's some crazy shit. So that's really fire. And could you tell people what the name of your company is or if they want to follow that on IG?
Follow me on IG at Flavored Flames.
Yo guys, he has some delicious looking grilled shrimp. Like you be throwing grilled shrimp on the grill all day. That shit looks fire. I don't even eat shrimp. That shit looks fire. You're gonna hate me for that comment,
food
but
good.
is it good?
Really good, yeah.
I might have to eat some shrimp. I don't know.
It's really good.
But in 2020, guys, for DTW, is there any big plans like what we're talking about in the works? Any events? Any bigger things coming up? Or is it kind of hush hush?
No, we're working on a lot of different things. A couple of our artists is working on EPs, a couple singles, and we planning to do more shows and things like that. But the whole COVID situation, a lot of things have slowed down. So we just building right now a lot of different things that. One's probably spring, summer, or even before that or whatever. We're going to drop a lot of different things. So just, keep following us and, we're going to keep everybody entertained.
Word.
So we always working,
Yeah.
Like that's always
Even
happening.
when you don't see the content coming out, there's still moves being made.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. Well, that's how anything's built too, though. It's like the things that people don't see, the behind the scenes, like how much time and effort and energy have you guys put into meetings, getting together and trying to build ideas before you even have an artist and say that you're going to sign them or start creating a show and stuff like that. Did you guys have like a long building process, do you feel like that people couldn't see, or was it kind of like an immediate start plan when you guys got into this?
No, we always had something there.
Yeah.
So we just expounding and making it grow and putting it all together and making sense. Like it's all there. Like even when artists comes up to us now, it's like, because me and Ashley, we always meet artists all the time. And I even have artists all the time. Yo, manage me, Joey, manage me.
Yeah.
And now that I have a team and all that, now I just be like, hey, got to talk to my team now. Like, I don't make the calls. Like, we make it as a group, So it's like, even if anybody wants to work with us, it's like, I have to present it to the team, and then we have to talk about it. Because, also, we don't want to have, 20 artists on our roster and, nothing's moving, right? Because that's just too much to handle. Right. So we got to make sure that, we're putting our focus on our artists, and we're doing different things and getting them out there. Yeah. So the plan is there, Yeah. And we're excited. We gotta trust the process,
Exactly. Exactly. And I kind of asked Jay when he was on, but do you actually have any influences in music or any of your favorite artists kind of that got you into wanting to be in the booking scene in the event or music industry?
Not gonna lie, my motivation to be in the music comes from my father.
Hey.
Father was, he is a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame artist with Little Anthony Imperials. So he put me on, a doo-wop group. So he put me on to so many different genres of music. The record, you could go back to my house now in Brooklyn. The amount of records we have is crazy. Yeah. So it would always be every Saturday or every weekend, he'd just play music all day long. Just sit back on the couch, smoke a cigarette, listen. Oh my goodness. And I just got into music, and then when he passed away years ago, I think that's when it really kicked in. I had to do something to, because he's remembered, people, still are fans of him. So I'm I got to do something to make my mark, on this earth, because eventually we're all gonna pass away. 100%. But gotta do something that people will remember, and then something you could pass on for generation to generation.
It's kind of like carrying on that legacy, taking the torch and being okay, well, like we were saying about culture, taking that culture that your father gave you of whatever vinyls he was playing for you back in the day, and those the imagery you have in your head, and like how do you pass that down to younger generations who maybe won't get that experience, you know what I mean, who won't hear that music that you were exposed to. And I feel like that's the best thing that we can do, is just take the knowledge that we have and give it to people younger. And like it's fantastic that that's what you guys have all created, being older heads in the industry, you know what I mean? Because like people look at you guys and be like, oh, you're young, but like for hip hop and for what we're trying to build, it's like you're older, you know what I mean? Like, and it's like being able to pass that knowledge it's amazing. So and do you have kids yourself or no?
Not yet,
So it's
not
like
yet.
even giving it even more so. Do you know what I mean? Like I know you said you worked with kids, so it's like it comes from that aspect too. So it's really special. And you know, speaking of legacies, I know that you guys have on your website a little quote, and it says, "Dedication makes dreams come true," from Kobe Bryant. Where did this quote come from you guys? I mean, I've been
the
trying to get
GOAT.
the basketball out of y'all.
That's me and Johnny's like one of our favorite players right there, Kobe.
Hey,
I like Kobe too, by the way.
I know.
he's
I'm
like,
just
hold up,
saying.
I like Kobe.
So, when I was creating the website, I was just looking for like quotes, and then I came across Kobe, and you know, Kobe meant a lot to me. So I was like, I got to use this quote, and it made sense, you know.
Yeah.
And just dedicated to anything, you know. And like I do many things, so like I'm always dedicated to something. So that's why I thought anybody could relate to what we're trying to do.
Facts. And, you know, I just speaking for myself, like building this podcast, starting from the ground up, like not having anyone to help me when I started, like Joey said, and just trying to like figure everything out. Even like if you're getting into cooking, it's like, who do you ask about like what you should do or how you should price things or how to do an event? Like there's all these like questions and things that you have to figure out. You know, what kind of like, did you guys ever feel like there were struggles that pushed you forward? Like, did you ever feel like you had to get low before you could even get yourself back up to get high again, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of moments. Even like me, because I do art, I do graphic design. Remember when I was in college, a professor told me that we do this thing called critique. So like outside people used to come in, so we hang up all our work. And
Mad nerve-wracking.
I was nervous. Like, it was my first time too, like doing graphic design and all that. Because usually before that I was just like drawing and painting, so like that was natural for me.
Yeah.
So I wanted to try, like I said, I like to learn new things. So I was like, I want to try computer art.
Facts.
So then I did graphic design. So I was like, all right, let me hang this up. So the person just comes in and fills out reports or whatever, and you don't even see them. So when you come back, they're all there.
Oh,
so you're reading
shit.
everybody's results and everything. So one guy was just like, he went in on me and he said, yo, you suck. You should quit. This is the worst thing I ever seen. Mm-hmm. And that, like, being in my like early 20s, I was just like, yo, I'm about to quit school right now.
Yeah, right?
So like,
That.
I used it as motivation, and I was like, all right, cool. Like, I'm not one of those. Like, I'm like, all right, I like to, like, if you give me critique, I'm gonna take it and then turn it around and then create magic. So then the following year, I went back and like I became like a beast and started winning competitions. I won national portfolio, like poster competitions all around the world, different things like that. You can look up, it's online and everything. So like, it just motivated me and sparked something. And I was just like, nah, like I'm not gonna just be, because people do, when they get critiqued, they're like, you know what, I'm gonna quit now.
Give up on
Yeah, and
themselves.
give up. So
Yeah.
I'm the opposite, where like you could say something, I'm just gonna go like harder and just prove myself, you know, that I can do this.
Facts.
And same thing with music. Like, you know, I started out in my mom's basement just on the computer by myself. And then people was like, this is horrible. And it's like, I'm just learning. Like, you know, like no one's
Yeah.
there to teach. Couldn't just walk to a studio.
Right.
So then eventually, you know, the more you love it, the more you grow, the network, you meet people, you start going to different studios, you meet different engineers, things like that. And then it just becomes natural. And now you're like where you need to be,
Facts.
you know?
Facts.
And every day you're supposed to learn something new. So
Yeah, 100%. And have you ever like struggled with anything like that, Ashley, or just like the sense of like people not believing in like what your goals were, what your vision was, that kind of made you keep going or got you to where you're at?
Yeah, I'm not gonna say people didn't, you know, get in the way of my path of things. It's just I put it in perspective of like anything you're passionate about, you know, just go with it. Like it's nobody can really stop you from what you believe in, what you love doing. So, you know, people would tell me in situations, maybe, you know, you're not the best at this, but it didn't matter to me. So you just go for it.
And what, like, kind of what I hear you say there is, like, it's a mentality.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can let anything, get into your head so much that you give up on yourself, or you can take that and just continue to rock it forward and dedicate yourself and be motivated to fucking winning. You know what I'm saying? In whatever aspect or sense or path that you choose, we all have the option to be a winner ourselves. Like I've said on my past podcasts, if you're a better you than you were yesterday, you're fucking winning. If you're a better you than you were last week, you're winning. You know what I mean? And I think we're all winning. So I appreciate you guys so much, DTW, for everything you guys are doing for the city, for Boston, putting on the young artists out here. Do you guys have anything to say to anybody coming up in the city who's trying to do the same before we close out? Any, motivation or anything to keep them going if they're going through some struggle right now?
I'll just say to create opportunity for yourself. You know what I mean? Because some people like to sit and wait for people. So I feel like, go out there, network, meet people, shake hands, open more doors for you, Yeah, that's what I would say. That's what I did, so just don't think that you can just upload your stuff online and then think that you're going to blow. Like it takes more than that, Sometimes the work is behind closed doors. It's not even the final product,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So.
100%. And guys, again, I appreciate y'all so much for taking the time out of your busy schedules to get everyone here today, to get the team together and to come tell the fans what you guys are about. So I'm sure there's going to be so much more of DTW coming up in 2022. They can follow you everywhere, right on
DTW management.
All right. Instagram, everything.
On everything.
So make sure y'all check out DTW Entertainment, DTW Management. So many performances. Their artists are going to be coming out with crazy tracks coming up soon. You don't even know the heat that we got for y'all. And we're going to be interviewing their artists on the next coming segments of Old Soul Young World. So make sure you tune in with me every week here on Old Soul Young World with your host, Jessie Ellie.